Welcome to the world-famous Butchart Gardens of Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. The gardens were started in 1906 and contain several different gardens. 1 million people visit this garden every single year. It's the major tourist attraction, the #1 tourist attraction on Vancouver Island in the city of Victoria in British Columbia, Canada. And on its 100th anniversary in 2004, it was designated by the Government of Canada as a National Historic Site of Canada. How can you not smile when you're looking at all these beautiful flowers? Even the garbage cans are beautiful. Who says you can't have beautiful garbage cans in a garden? There's a massive beech tree. It's about 4.5 feet in diameter, covered with lichens and mosses. It towers over the garden, probably 80 feet tall. Here's the same beech tree. The main house overlooks everything. The Japanese garden itself was designed and began in 1906 and was designed by Japanese landscape designer Isaburo Kishida. And within a few years, by the 1920s, some 50,000 people a year were visiting this garden. On a personal note, I first visited this garden way back in 1970 when I was about 10 or 11 years old, and I really don't remember very much about it. So it's almost like seeing it for the first time all over again. I am now touring it with my wife of 33 years, who's kind of the star of this show. She's the one in the pink outfit, the pink top, and I am an older gentleman and a grandfather. A lot of water has passed under the bridge in my life. The Japanese garden in the Butchart Garden was planted in 1906. And there is only one Japanese garden in all of North America that is older than this one. And that is the Japanese garden in San Francisco that dates back to the middle 1890s. We are now descending into what used to be a rock quarry where they mined limestone to make cement. So it was the vision of Jenny Butchart, the wife of Robert Butchart, who owned the quarry and the adjacent cement plant, to turn this scar on the face of the earth into a beautiful garden. So to fulfill her dream of a Japanese garden, Jenny Butchart hired a noted Japanese garden designer, and here are the results of her dream.
Surprise around every corner. Following the trail and the stream down into what used to be a quarry. Years, 120 years of pruning gone into this garden.
I have been privileged to visit many Japanese gardens in many countries on several continents and various states of the U.S., and this is definitely one of the most beautiful ones. If you are garden enthusiasts, as Sandy and me, you will need to spend several hours in the Butchart garden, which actually contains several gardens, a Japanese garden, Italian garden, and a rose garden, and a couple other gardens. And we spent 4 hours here, and we didn't feel like we should have spent any less than that, to be honest with you. The admission fee to the Butchart Gardens is a little bit under $40 Canadian, but it's worth every penny of it. We visited this garden in the month of May. Everything was blooming, and what's really cool is that you can take bus 75 from downtown Victoria, and it is an hour ride for $5 out directly to the Butchart Gardens.
The firs, the cedars, the other trees are beautifully manicured. You have a little Zen garden here, a little raked garden with a podocarpus tree in the middle. Looks like a little island in the midst of the sea, covered with moss.
So remember that Vancouver Island and the area around Victoria is an island. It's surrounded by the Pacific Ocean. And the Butchart property has its own cove that goes right out to the ocean.
Own private cove. Beautiful, very idyllic. Little old tugboat down there. Another pond. Little fountain. With some beautiful western red cedars.
The old Butchart house overlooks the Japanese garden, and the quarry was originally below that. Now it's the Japanese garden. I don't know if she planned it that way or not, but her blouse there totally matches the beautiful azaleas blooming in the background and the Japanese maple behind that. Once again, as you can see, everything is meticulously manicured. It is absolutely astoundingly beautiful everywhere you look.
Here's the Star Garden. This was once a duck pond. Coming into the Italian garden. The flowers are stunning. Gelato stand.
Needless to say, it's a very popular place on a hot spring day. Everything is high class at the Butchart Gardens, including the restrooms. We are now heading down into the sunken garden, which was another rock quarry on the property that was then turned into a gorgeous garden.
Shuffle them around here, and then just
Here you see what the sunken garden looked like before Mrs. Butchart turned it into the Garden of Eden paradise that you see today.
it is unbelievable. Jeez. It's so beautiful in all seasons.
Tired butterfly sound.
Here's a vista point, a building. It's made out of Douglas fir bark. Amazing. Oh yeah. So we're actually descending now into the sunken garden. We've been looking down on it. Yeah, let's go to the right. I think we've seen quite a bit of the left already from that. There was a cement factory back here, and it has been demolished. But what's remaining is the smokestack here in the distance, still in the Butchart property. It's the remaining smokestack of the cement factory. Lombardy poplars were planted by Mrs. Butchart to block the view of the cement factory and the towering chimney that we see in the background. So here's the lowest part of the quarry where there's water here, and there's a fountain, a dancing fountain. We're in an overlook here, the sunken garden. More tulips and forget-me-nots. Quarry, this original quarry, limestone quarry that goes back to the 1860s. This was not an original, part of the original Butchart garden. It came around about a little bit later. One cherry tree that is still smiling through its blooms at us. Petals down onto the lake. maybe. There's the lookout up there that we looked at earlier. Made out of Douglas fir bark. And there's the stairs that comes down into the sunken garden. The flowers blooming all year long. So we're about to ascend the stairs that comes out of the quarry.
Not far away from the sunken gardens is a carousel that was built a few years ago for the enjoyment and entertainment of young and old. Of course, everywhere you go in the Butchart Gardens, the pathways are festooned on both sides by thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of flowers blooming, smiling at you everywhere you go. It's a very happy and joyous place. For sure, if you were blue or sad going into the Butchart Gardens, there's no way you can't come out with a smile on your face and joy in your heart. Thank you for allowing us to share with you this wonderful place.